Hola amigos, hello friends. I'm Uncle Jerry, Tio Jerry, and it's time for a story. Today we're gonna travel to Scotland and we're gonna listen to the story of the seal wife. And we're gonna learn two words in Spanish: pescador, fisherman, and pescadores, fishermen. The seal wife. Down near the side of Loch Pultiel lived a poor young fisherman, pescador. Though he was a good fisherman, pescador, and had his own boat, yet he had a hard time to make enough to keep body and soul together. It was hard work fishing on his own, for he had no wife or partner to assist him, for when he was born, the devil had laid his finger on his face, and the mark of it blazed red from brow to chin. The mark was enough, even though he was a young, well-built, and of kindly nature man, to keep away girls of his age and other fishermen, pescadores, who might have partnered him. So he lived his hard and lonely life and dreamed, as all men do, of the fond young wife who some day might come brighten his life. One day he was walking down on the shore among the rocks when he saw a beautiful young maiden sitting naked on a rock, combing his long hair. Her back was to him, and he moved quietly towards her. And as he drew near, he saw, lying on the rock beside her, the skin of a female seal. Instantly realizing she was a seal woman, he leapt forward and seized the skin, for he knew she could not return to the sea without it. The girl pleaded for him to return his skin, but he refused, and told her of his great loneliness and showed her the reason for it. The seal girl was filled with pity for him and agreed to stay in his house and help him in his fishing for a while, and he promised to be kind to her and treat her fairly. Yet her real reason for staying was that she could not leave without her skin, and hoped she might get the opportunity to get it back while in his house. So began the partnership between them, and both kept the side of the bargain. Yet, as they dwelt and worked together, the feelings between them changed to a strong and earthly love. And there came the day when the fisherman, pescador, felt he could no longer hold her against her will, and offered to show her where her skin was hidden. To his great joy, she refused his offer, for she wished to dwell freely with him, and so they lived together as man and wife and had 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. For nearly 15 years they built a life together in happiness, and of possessions they had enough. Yet fate still had a hand to play. Their youngest daughter, Aelith, the very image of her dark-haired mother, was one day playing in the shed where her father kept his nets, when she came across a beautiful sealskin, which she took to show her mother. The seal wife was torn between two desires, for she loved her husband and her children and did not want to leave them, but the sight of her skin had brought back to her all the delights of her life under the sea and memories of her family there. That evening she told her husband of what had happened, and also that she had decided to go back to the sea, for she longed to see her friends, and he and the children no longer really needed her. Yet, she said, if the day comes when the children do not need you, come to where you found me and call, and you can join me as I joined you. Sad he was, the fisherman Pescador agreed, and his seal wife left. Both they and the children were in tears. Life moved on, and for 5 years the fisherman brought up his children and reaped the harvest of the sea, but one by one the children left. The fisherman Pescador was left on his own, and he lapsed into melancholy and no longer even went out to fish. One night he wandered down to where he had found his seal wife, and sitting there he thought of his lonely state and wished again to have his wife back. Then he remembered what his wife had said and called to her. She came out of the sea and asked him to join her in the sea, and gladly he did so. Down, down into the great green depths she led him to a beautiful, peaceful land where soft green seagrass waved and flowed, and pearls were scattered in the sand with great seashells forming seats and beds, and all manners of sea animals played happily together. 5 happy years they had together in her world, and then one day there came the news that their daughter had come back to the old house with her husband, and soon the first grandchildren would be born. The fisherman was no longer happy, for he wished to see once more his daughter and to hold his grandchild even for one moment. The fisherman Pescador told his feelings to his wife, and she told him that for love of him she would go with him to their old home, even though it meant that both of them would lose their immortality. When the news came that the baby was born, they left the lovely kingdom in the sea and swam ashore on the rocks below the house. Then, hand in hand, they walked up to the house. Their daughter was there, astounded and delighted to see them. And there, in a wooden cot, was their grandson, a bonny, chubby baby. The fisherman, Pescador, lifted his grandchild and held him in his arms, then passed him to his seal wife, who kissed the child. They had brought for him 2 pearls, and these they placed upon his pillow. They wished their daughter a last farewell, and as the night came down, they left. And in the morning, the bodies of a male and a female seal were found on the rocks below the house, lying together with the flippers entwined. En colorín colorado, este cuento se ha acabado. Good night, friends.